Welcome in everyone to the Larsonland podcast. I'm your host, Sawyer Hill, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Dylan Bradshaw. We come on here every single Wednesday and talk about all things involving the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Young Money Kyle Larson. The past 7 days have been extremely busy for Kyle Larson as he was on the track almost every single day. We have a lot to unpack on today's show, but first, let's go ahead and dive into this weekend's action at Dover. Dylan, we were there at the track. We waited out the rain until Monday, and I think we caught a pretty good race, in my opinion. What was your thoughts on your first experience at Dover?
It was a pretty good race. Unfortunate with the whole rain thing on Sunday. We Everyone only got a chance to see the 78 laps. It was a pretty heavy crowd. I was surprised by that. A good crowd came up, but yeah, unfortunate rain out. But the outcome of the race was pretty good. We had 10 leaders, 17 lead changes, and I mean it's a pretty nice improvement over 2021 where we only saw 5 leaders and 11 lead changes. So I think the quality of racing is kind of improving at Dover. I mean, there was some tire wear, but not like Richmond where Hamlin he pitted with 50 to go and unlapped himself and stuff. But the rubber on the track gave the drivers ability to run the different lines, and it was overall a pretty good race. I mean, I don't think it was a good enough race to maybe put it on the two race schedule like we had in the past, but I think it was a good enough race to kind of secure the spot for Dover in a 2023 race.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a step up from some of the other short tracks that we've seen so far this season on the schedule. We've kind of had some questionable races with the next gen car on those tracks, and yeah, it was definitely a lot of stuff going on in this race. It looked like early in the race, Kyle Larson was up there, and he looked like he was kind of the dominant guy. Got kind of cycled out there on pit strategy, and then in early in stage two, ended up blowing a tire and spinning out. Um, then at that point, Hamlin pretty much took over control of the race, and he had his tire issue as well. 4 race suspension incoming for his crew chief and some crew members there. Dylan, what do you think about the severity of this penalty we have seen over the past couple of weeks with the tire issues?
Yeah, it seems to be a continued problem here in these next gen cars, all these tire issues. We're going from these blown tires and then these just problems on pit road. And I think Hamlin's was an issue where the single lug wasn't in the socket. So I mean the tire just completely ran loose. But it's definitely going to be a problem. I mean these drivers are going to these races and these heavy sets of races battling for points, and it's a big loss losing your crew chief and your crew members. So I mean, just something has to change. It's a big loss for these drivers and the team.
Yeah, and I think I definitely disagree with the ruling from NASCAR's side of things on this. I understand that there has to be some kind of penalty given out for a tire coming off the car during the race, but with this single lug, it's new stuff to the teams, and they're trying to figure it out. Still, it's we're not that far. We're not even halfway through the season yet, and like I said, these guys are trying to figure it out, and I think that the 4 race suspension for the crew chief and the two crew members is kind of counterproductive in a way because you look at the guys that are out there doing these pit stops. These are the number one guys. These are the best guys out there every single week that are changing these tires, and I don't think that's going to help anything by suspending two of the best guys and putting guys that are kind of like the backups out there on the pit lane the next couple of races. I think that doesn't really solve the issue. It just probably makes it a little bit worse.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've talked about this week in and week out. We keep stressing it's a learning curve for these drivers and these teams. So yeah, I mean, I completely agree. It's not going to make things better while by suspending these guys. I mean, they have to learn from it, and it just sucks for the driver. Hamlin was running insanely fast there on day two at Dover, so just unfortunate for the driver. Just a small mistake by the pit crew, and it just completely ruins their entire day going forward.
Yep, so Hamlin had a strong car early. Larson did too before his spin, and then it looked like Kyle Busch was probably going to run away with this race in the later stages. But on a late cycle of green flag pit stops, him, Alex Bowman, and some of the other leaders got caught on pit road when the yellow flag came out. They had to take the wave round and go to the tail end of the lead lap, and that pretty much cost Kyle Busch the win of the race. But Chase Elliott was able to pick up his first win on an oval since he won the championship back in 2020 at Phoenix. So really been a long time coming for Chase Elliott, and like I said, it locks all four Hendrick Motorsports drivers into the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs.
Yeah, you mean we love to see it. We finally got to see a Hendrick driver in person win a race, so that was exciting for me. And big things for Hendrick. They've been running very well all year, and they just continue to put out strong performances week in and week out. That race, we obviously all saw Hendrick do very well. Joe Gibbs did very well, but kind of straying away from the race a little bit. I kind of wanted to ask your opinion on it. We obviously had that rain delay, so kind of want to talk about the rain timing thing and how NASCAR should probably try to push the race time back because old NASCAR we had these races around 1 o'clock and Dover is like another circumstance where if the race was pushed back to 1 o'clock we probably could have avoided the rain instead of stopping the race around lap 78. So I mean, what do you think about that? I know we always see NASCAR in their analytics for viewership, and 3 o'clock's the best time. But these fans are coming out, and not everyone can make up the Monday race. People have things to do, and these fans are spending a lot of money to come out on Saturday to see the race, and they only get to see 78 laps.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if anybody watches David Land on YouTube, he has been a huge advocate for pushing NASCAR races back to 1 o'clock start times. I personally hate the 3:30 start times. I think it really just it's annoying. I like watching the race earlier in the day, just period. But especially these tracks that don't have lights, like Dover and Talladega, they really need to move their start time up to 1 o'clock in case something like this does happen where they do have rain. I mean, like you said, fans pay their hard-earned money to come out there to the track. Obviously, they're going to grant refunds and ticket credits for future events there at Dover, but it's one race a year, and it's just not fair to these fans that come out there on Sunday to have a race that's scheduled for a start time at 3. It was perfectly fine earlier in the day. They could have gotten the entire race in if they started it at 1, but as we saw at lap 78, the rain started coming down, and it was just too much for NASCAR to get the track back before the sunset there in Dover. So, yeah, I'm a huge advocate for the 1 o'clock start times just overall, but definitely especially at these tracks without lights.
Yeah, I read something about it. It's pretty interesting. The reason that Dover actually doesn't have lights is the air base next door. There's been talks of that they haven't added lights because the lights could add potential blindness to the aircrafts and the people coming in at the air base. So I read that that could be a reason, but then on the other hand, I saw an old article that said Dover was actually thinking about the idea of adding lights in around 2004, and it just kind of never happened. But as the years progress, we obviously, like I said earlier, Dover is only being raced once a year, so they might have just completely thrown out the idea, and they're kind of straying away from Dover a bit. The other Dover race we saw was put to the Nashville race. So yeah, I mean, it just doesn't seem like Dover is kind of getting these improvements and such as lights because they're kind of thrown out the window, it seems. But that was a good race, and I think that race is going to keep Dover on the schedule. However, it's just I don't see it having a second one.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I think it's going to be tough to justify putting another Dover race on the schedule, especially with just the schedule changes we've seen in the past couple of years, adding so many more road courses and, like you said, new tracks like Nashville. Um, Although the racing at Dover is good, I think it's going to be tough to get a second race on the schedule there at Dover. But one final thing I'd like to talk about as far as Dover goes, I guess if you guys followed along on Larsonland on our Instagram or any of our social media, I was down in the garage area on Saturday for practice and qualifying and during the Xfinity race. I do have to say a lot of people have given hate to these next gen cars, but When you get down there and you really see them in person, they are really beautiful cars. Definitely does not do them justice when you watch on TV. I know Dylan, you saw them back at Daytona up close and personal, but man, I really think the car looks a lot better than the Gen 6 car.
Yeah, definitely. They really look great. I love the way they look when I saw them Daytona, and it was awesome to see you be able to be on the pit road there Saturday. I hope in the future we can, progress Larsonland. We can finally get some media passes and put out some content. We will be putting out a Dover on location video here soon. We're going to work on it probably after the time of this recording of the podcast. So be sure to check out that Dover on location video that we're recording, and we hope to in the future get some more up close access so everyone following Larsonland can see some great clips of the cars and some up close content.
Yeah, I think that's one of our biggest goals here at Larsonland is we're trying to get some more of that access so we can provide the best possible content for all of our supporters. So great race at Dover, but now it like I said, it's been a really busy week of racing for Kyle over the last 7 days. Last time we talked, it was before um, all of these races, and kind of just want to backtrack now to last Tuesday night before we recorded or after we recorded the podcast last Wednesday. It was the first race of the 2022 Flow Racing Night in America Series at the historic Eldora Speedway. Young Money Kyle Larson was able to pick up his first dirt late model win of the season in a dominating fashion. Dylan, I think anyone could have saw this one coming. The Rumley Six team has looked red hot all season, but for a myriad of reasons, the finishes just haven't been there.
Yeah, it was definitely due for a race. This Rumley number 6 car has just been great. We've talked about Kyle has had a little bit of a struggle qualifying, and but I mean it seems like every single night he goes out there in the feature and he just runs the wheels off that car. And yeah, he was insanely fast at Eldora. He put together a great race. Nobody could really touch him there, but yeah, just a great win for this number 6 team, and things are looking on the up.
Yeah, I agree there. The Rumley Six team has been looking great, and it was a much needed win for that team. That Eldora track was one that was well suited to Kyle Larson's driving style. It was very rough, very technical. I know a lot of the other late model guys they didn't like it, like how the track was. They are hoping that it's a lot smoother for the Eldora Million coming up in June. Kyle Larson obviously won't be at that event, unfortunately, but yeah, I think it was just really right up Kyle's alley there at Eldora. So then on Wednesday night, the second race of the Flow Racing Night America Series went to Brownstown Speedway. Kyle Larson picked up a fifth place finish there after some struggles in qualifying, and Jonathan Davenport picked up the win there. And then we went into the Bristol Bash with the World of Outlaws late models and sprint cars on Friday night and Saturday night. A lot of drama on Friday night. Kyle Larson was set to start outside of the front row in his late model feature, but before the race, he was sent to the rear as World of Outlaws said that he was late to staging. He started dead last in the field and ran his way, I think, through 2 laps of the race. He came from last up to 10th place, and then by the last couple, I think 3 to go, he was in second, tracking down the leader, Jonathan Davenport. Surprised there, but he was right there on Jonathan Davenport's tail, and coming on the last lap, he blew a tire and got into the wall. Dylan, what were your thoughts on the ruling by World of Outlaws to send Kyle to the rear? I know it was Kyle did not hold back in his interview after the race.
Yeah, Kyle and along with Carr and Kevin Remley definitely voiced their opinions on the matter. Obviously frustrated. He qualified second that night, and we could honestly say, despite the eighth place finish, could be the performance of the year. I mean, that was just incredible. Like you said, within 2 laps, starting from the rear, he was up to 10, and by the time there was 6, 7 laps to go, he was competing for the lead spot. So just incredible performance, but it's tough because like Kyle said, they can't give him special treatment. It's either him and his team mad at World of Outlaws, or there's 20 other guys mad at them for giving him special treatment. And he said that in the interview the next day. But obviously frustration from there from him and the team there that night. In the Kevin Rumley interview, he mentioned that they had some transmission issues and they needed a push start, and there wasn't much, leniency there. And he was obviously running double duty, so yeah, just kind of misled there. It's tough because, like I said, you can't give special treatment, but you kind of got to give some leniency a little bit. I feel like with the double duty, running the sprint and late model. But we'll see in the future because they definitely voiced their opinion with it and said they will be exploring different routes potentially instead of World of Outlaws. We have obviously the Lucas Oil late model and we have XR Super Series, so it will be interesting to see if they will continue on with World of Outlaws, but the we'll see in the future.
Yeah, and I think like you said, there was a lot of emotion after that result on Friday night. But I expect this team to continue running whatever World of Outlaws races they had on their schedule for the rest of the season. But yeah, just unfortunate there. But like you said, really one of the best races of the year in my opinion. I thought that battle at Port Royal a couple weeks ago with Earl Pearson Jr. was a good one. But yeah, Kyle just he was insane on Friday night, and he was just in a whole other world. I talked to Cliff Daniels about it on Saturday morning at Dover when I was there, and Cliff was really surprised by how fast Kyle was, and just like same exact remarks as I have. It just really just in another world. And Cliff kind of said that on Saturday night he expected more people to start running that top side like Kyle did. Kyle was really the only guy running that top side, so Cliff kind of said that he thought that it was going to be tougher for Kyle to do what he did on Friday night on Saturday night, and it definitely was. There was definitely a lot more guys running the top on Saturday night, but Kyle was able to pick up a fifth place finish, and Ricky Weiss actually picked up the win there on Saturday. But on the sprint car side of things, it was definitely a lot different racing in the sprint car compared to the late model there at Bristol. The late model racing was pretty action packed, and there was a lot of passing going on. But in the sprint car stuff, it was kind of lackluster on Friday night. Kyle started seventh and finished seventh. Logan Schuchart picked up the win there, just in a dominating fashion. And then on Saturday night, Kyle Larson finished second to Spencer Baston. Spencer Baston picked up his first World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car win, and Kyle was oh so close to getting that one, Dylan.
Yeah, for sure. He ran well night two in the sprint car. As you said, night one kind of lackluster, not too much to say there. But yeah, night two he ran very well, and I know he mentioned later that any other track but Bristol, he would have made a move there at the end to try to take that win away from Basin. But Bristol is just such a fast track. You kind of got to be careful going through those turns in such high speeds. But yeah, I think any other track there, as Kyle said, he kind of would have put the move on him and kind of sent it as he does usually for that win. I'm hoping to see him in the sprint car some more. It's really exciting to see. He's one of the best sprint car drivers in the world. So love to see him in that sprint car and would love to see him a little more.
Yeah, like you said, it was just the speeds there at or at Bristol, excuse me. It's so fast that making a move like that is a little bit more dangerous than every other track that they see along the year, and I think that's why we saw Kyle kind of just play it safe there and fall back in a second. Obviously, he's a smart guy, knowing that he has a lot of racing to do this year, so can't risk anything. Obviously, you want to pick up the win, but Kyle made the smart move, and congratulations to Spencer Basin on his first win. So, kind of going back now to the Flow Racing Night in America series, just an update on the point standings for that. Superman Jonathan Davenport is in first after his second place at Eldora and his first place at Brownstown last Wednesday. He sits at 168 points, and Kyle Larson is not far behind in second, only 9 points behind. Third place in the standings is Brandon Overton, a Longhorn 1-2-3 there after 3 races. That series will pick back up on May 11th for the first race of the Illinois Late Model Speed Week at the Spoon River Speedway. And then they'll head to Lincoln Speedway there in Illinois on the following night on May 12th. So, next week up for the NASCAR Cup Series is Darlington Raceway for the annual Throwback Race. Dylan, what did you think of Kyle's throwback scheme that was unveiled this past week?
Yeah, it's a decent scheme. I'm kind of jealous of the schemes. Byron got that awesome Jeff Gordon scheme, and Bowman got that great Mark Martin scheme, and Elliott has a nice scheme. But overall, a nice scheme paying tribute to an old Hendrick Cars driver. I kind of want to get in here to these Darlington stats for Larson. He has 8 starts, 656 laps led. He has 5 top 5s, 7 top 10s. His average start is 9.8. His average finish is 5.5. He has 0 DNFs and 0 wins. We hope to change that this week. And he's actually finished second the past 3 years in a row at Darlington. So I'd like to say he's due for a win here. He is the favorite going into the weekend, with a plus 500 chance to win, which means if you bet $100 on him, you would win $500. So going into the weekend, he is the favorite, so would love to see him pull out a win here and kind of break the cycle of the second place the past 3 years in a row.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting Kyle to have a good finish there at Darlington again. Obviously, last year, the video game move on Hamlin that he pulled in the first race of the NASCAR playoffs. Um, Darlington's a tough track. It's kind of we're kind of going from one tough track at Dover to another one at Darlington, but I know Kyle Larson and this HendrickCars.com number 5 team are ready to roll. Um, Anything else on Darlington? Anything we should expect going into this Sunday's race, Dylan?
Not too much else to cover. I mean, Kyle has ran very well lately. We've been going to this great stretch of races, and he's consistently putting up these great finishes. As we talked about in Dover, he was running very well, and he had the unfortunate spin out with the blown tire, but he always seems to work his way back up. He had some time, and he captured that sixth place finish. So, no wins yet. We've talked about this before. Kind of comparing it to his great season last year. He had his first win, and it took him another 2 months to get a second. So, we're kind of looking at a similar circumstance here where he had that win in Auto Club early in the year, and he's yet to get a win. So, hopefully he puts together, another little win streak here, but he's getting these good finishes. So, I mean, that's all that matters. He's up there in points. So, not too much to worry about with Kyle Larson going forward.
Yeah, and definitely these couple good finishes in a row, 3 good finishes in a row here, fourth, and a sixth this past weekend at Dover. It's fairly reminiscent of last year. He had a couple second place finishes in a row before he went on that 4 or 5 race win streak at towards the middle part of the season there, toward near the All Star race. So kind of looking at the schedule for Darlington this weekend on Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. on Fox Sports 1. There will be practice, and then on Fox Sports 1 at 11:05 a.m. on Saturday, Kyle Larson will qualify that throwback scheme, and then on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1, we'll have the Goodyear 400 there at the Darlington Raceway. So, as far as dirt stuff goes this week, we are not really sure of anything that Kyle Larson could be or is going to confirm to be running. We know he's not going to be in the late model at all this weekend with the World of Outlaws or the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, but I think the only thing that we don't know, maybe he could be in the sprint car at Eldora on Friday night and Saturday night. Again, that is not confirmed. We really don't have any idea of that yet, but we will keep you updated as always on Larsonland. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, pretty much anywhere we're there, Larsonland. So thanks again for tuning in and listening to the show this week. If you have any topics you would like us to cover in next week's show, please leave a comment down below if you're listening on YouTube. And as always, check out the links in our description for some awesome Kyle Larson Facebook groups. We will be back again next Wednesday to recap this weekend's race at Darlington, as well as any dirt racing that Kyle partakes in. And if you're watching on YouTube, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please follow our podcast so you don't miss a thing. Have a great rest of the week, everyone, and enjoy the on-track action over the next week. Happy Mother's Day this Sunday to all of the wonderful moms out there, and we will see you in the next episode.